Hey guys, and welcome to this trip report. Today we're flying from Melbourne to the lovely city of Perth. However, I've decided to do it the long way, via the city of churches. That's right, via Adelaide. We'll be flying with Rex aboard their flagship Boeing 737-800 from Melbourne to Adelaide, then with Jetstar aboard their Airbus A320 from Adelaide to Perth. At the time of filming, Perth had been plunged into a 2-day lockdown due to a small outbreak of COVID-19, and I wasn't too sure if I'd even make it back to Perth that night. Both Victoria and South Australia had shut its border to West Australians. However, as I arrived in Melbourne before the Perth lockdown was announced, all I had to do was isolate until I received a negative result. So with all that out of the way, let's carry on with the video. Rex departs from Terminal 4 at Tullamarine Airport. It shares the space with Jetstar. Check-in for Rex can be found right down the very south end of the ground floor of Terminal 4. After check-in, you head up an escalator and through security before being dumped into the shopping and food area in Terminal 4. As you can see, there's quite a few shops and restaurants where you can purchase food and whatnot before your flight. Walking through the food court, there's plenty of places to sit and eat your food too. If you keep on walking, you'll find the passageway to gates 11 to 20, which is where our flight will be boarding today. Our aircraft today is VH-RQG, a 16-year-old Boeing 737-800 delivered new to Virgin Blue in 2005, before Virgin Australia was established in 2011. It was then returned to its lessor by Virgin Australia in 2020 before being taken up by Rex in January of 2021. Today, as I was seated towards the rear of the plane, we'll be boarding via the rear stairs. The seat for today's flight will be 18A, a left side window seat. I was fortunate enough to have the middle seat free for the duration of the flight. Rex have only changed the livery on the outside of the aircraft to their own, having maintained the Virgin Australia interior. Pushback and taxi today would be for a runway 16 departure to the south.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome back our frequent travellers and a warm welcome to those passengers.
What you should do in the unlikely event of an emergency. Please read this carefully before we take off. Your seatbelt should now around your waist by clicking the two ends together. To tighten, pull this strap. Once outside the aircraft, inflate your life jacket by pulling on the red toggles. For further inflation, blow into these mouthpieces. If required. There are 8 emergency exits on this Boeing 737 aircraft.
I think now's a good time to plug my Instagram at rt.aviation. You can find details for that in the description below. Today's flight to Adelaide would take just under an hour, cruising at 36,000 feet. The seat is pretty darn similar to what you'd find on an older Virgin Australia 737 these days. A flip down table, reading light, air gasket, and these funny little buttons in the armrest which might have been for the once existent IFE. Very shortly after takeoff, the cabin crew delivered the food and beverage service. All passengers were offered coffee, tea and water, and were also given these crackers with salsa. Given the extremely low fare for this flight, it included the snack and drinks pretty good, and may I say it was actually alright. Alright, let's see how fast I can do this. Toilet 737, what else needs to be said? Economy class on the Rex 737 is laid out in a bulk standard 3-3 configuration.
Emergency exit row or a row without a seat in front. All carry-on items.
Soon we were beginning our descent into Adelaide.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Adelaide, where the local time is 12:35 in the afternoon. Please remain seated with your seatbelt firmly fastened until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the captain has switched off the fasten seatbelt sign. If your electronic devices are within reach, you are welcome to use.
So after a quick chat with South Australian Police, asking me why I was coming to South Australia, I was swiftly escorted to my departing gate, which was at the other end of the terminal. I didn't get to film it as I was told not to leave the gate area, but in the centre of the terminal concourse is a series of shops and cafes. Adelaide Airport has got to be one of the nicest domestic airports in Australia. The design is modern and airy, and it seems way better than what Perth Airport can dish up in the way of its old Qantas terminals. So basically, I sat in the Adelaide airport for 2 hours waiting for my aircraft to arrive from Cairns. So here she is, VH-VQZ will take me to Perth today. She is a 16.5-year-old Airbus A320-200 delivered new to Jetstar Asia in 2004. It was then transferred to Jetstar Australia in 2005. Just a word of warning, I had over 7 kilos for carry-on baggage, and yes, they did check this. This was a bit of a shock for me because out of all the times I've flown low-cost carriers, I've flown AirAsia, Tiger Air and Jetstar before, I've never had anyone check. so I had to pay a pretty hefty $60 fee for excess cabin baggage. So, moral of the story is don't make the same mistake, folks. Today's seat to Perth will be 20A, again a left-hand side window seat. So as a result of the lockdown in Perth, the plane was pretty empty, with only around 80 people on board. I had the whole row to myself, as well as the rows immediately in front and behind me. After boarding, we actually sat in the gate for another hour past our scheduled departure time, due to a technical fault. So all I had to pass the time was just watching the footy. I think we knew we had this coming. A320 toilet? Old. All I've got to say. Finally, we pushed and started for runway 23 at Adelaide, just a mere hour late.
Please watch the crew number closest to you and listen carefully.
Ensure your personal electronic devices are in a flight safe mode or otherwise completely switched off. Your carry-on baggage and larger in the bathroom. It's our pleasure to have you on board with us today, and we hope you have an enjoyable flight. Thanks for listening.
Flying time to Perth was just under 3 hours at a cruising altitude of 32,000 feet. Here's a wide-angle shot of the nice leather seats that Jetstar provide. When it comes to seat features, the Jetstar A320 comes with even less bells and whistles than the Rex 737. There's a hard seat pocket at the top of the seat with a fold-down tray table just below that. Then the standard reading light and air gasket above the seat. After a pretty scenic cruise over the Bight in the great southern region of WA, we made our descent into Perth. Overall, the journey home from Melbourne was fairly smooth. With just an hour delay and 2 flights later, I've crossed Australia from Melbourne to Perth. Would I have been better off flying straight back from Melbourne with Virgin or Qantas? Probably, but what would be the fun in that? I really enjoyed my flight with Rex from Melbourne to Adelaide. For what I paid, what you get in return is truly amazing value, and I would highly recommend Rex for value. In terms of Jetstar, it was pretty much bang on average. I got exactly what I expected and my expectations were met. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I shall catch you all in my next trip report.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Perth, where the local time is 7 minutes past 6 p.m. On behalf of all your crew, it's been our pleasure having you on board. Today you'll be using the forward and rear left-hand doors to disembark the aircraft. Please follow the directions of our team, and for your safety, please remember to be steady on the stairs and hold on to the handrail. Before you head off, double check that you have everything with you and be careful opening the overhead lockers, just in case any luggage has moved during the flight. Please remember to take any face masks or wipes, whether used or unused, off the aircraft with you. Once the seatbelt sign is off, where possible, please maintain appropriate distance between yourself and other customers as you disembark. If your phone is within arm's reach, you can now switch it on. Just remember that any other devices must stay switched off until you're inside the terminal. Smoking is not allowed on the tarmac or in the terminal building, and due to COVID-19, domestic travel restrictions may be in place. Please ensure you have checked the latest government advice so that you are eligible for entry to your destination today. If you are not eligible, you may be denied entry or required to undertake hotel quarantine, possibly at your own expense. If you have any questions regarding entry requirements, you should contact the relevant government department on arrival. On behalf of the captain, first officer, your entire crew, we would like to thank you for flying Jetstar. It has been a pleasure bringing you through to Perth. We wish each and every one of you a safe and happy onward journey, and hope to see you in the near future. I would also like to take this opportunity to apologise for the late arrival of this aircraft and hope that it hasn't caused you too much inconvenience. Thank you and good afternoon.